In House of the Dragon Season 3 Episode 1, Rhaenyra Targaryen and Daemon Targaryen, along with 4 other dragons and dragonriders, and joined by Corlys Velaryon's forces from the sea, will take King's Landing from the Greens. The Season 2 finale just ended, and while most fans expected the fall of King's Landing to happen, it had been moved to Season 3, just like the Battle of the Gullet. Season 2 Episode 8 was a prelude to Rhaenyra's attack on King's Landing, which will happen in the Season 3 premiere, as well as a prelude to many other battles that are going to come in Season 3, such as Aemond's attack on Harrenhal, the bloodiest sea battle against the Triarchy in which Jacaerys and his dragon die, and many battles across Westeros between Rhaenyra's forces of Starks and Rivermen against the Lannisters and Hightowers, who are joined by Daeron and his dragon. But what happens in Season 3 Episode 1 is Rhaenyra's attack on King's Landing, and Aemond taking Harrenhal. In the Season 2 finale, we had Alicent even offering Rhaenyra the capital without bloodshed, and the episode ended with her entire side getting ready for war, while King Aegon escaped King's Landing as Larys knows the city will fall within the next few days, and Rhaenyra would execute him if he stays. The prelude to the fall of King's Landing is Aemond, Prince Regent and Protector of the Realm, taking out all armies from King's Landing including his dragon Vhagar, and marching to face Daemon at Harrenhal, which leaves King's Landing defenseless. This creates an opportunity that the Black sees. Daemon abandons Harrenhal when Aemond and Criston begin marching on the Great Castle with a host of Greens. Daemon on Caryxes and Queen Rhaenyra on Syrax fly to King's Landing, joined by Rhaenyra's new dragons and their dragonriders Addam and Seasmoke, Hugh and Vermithor, Ulf and Silverwing, while Jacaerys stays behind with Wormax and Baela with Moondancer to protect the Dragonstone. They will also be joined by Rhaena flying on Sheepstealer, who should have accompanied Rhaenyra's children to protect them until they reach the safety of Pentos, but she doesn't, and the Triarchy, a new ally of the Greens, will instead come across their ship, which will not end well. The fleet of the Sea Snake, Lord Corlys Velaryon, also sails for King's Landing and arrives to the east of the Blackwater Bay. The sight of Daemon on Caryxes and Rhaenyra on Syrax over King's Landing sends the city into a panic. The Greens try to send riders to bring back Aemond and ravens to lead lords, but their efforts are quickly stopped. Unknown to the Greens is that the Gold Cloaks, the city watch of King's Landing, have turned. The Gold Cloaks have always been loyal to Daemon, who had once been their leader. When Grand Maester Orwyle goes to dispatch ravens, he is beaten and bound by Gold Cloaks as he arrives in his chambers. The 7 commanders of the city gates who have been chosen for their loyalty to King Aegon are either imprisoned or killed the moment Daemon and Caryxes are spotted over the Red Keep. In the book, Sir Gawain Hightower is the second in command of the city watch, who then rushes to the stables to sound the alarm. But he is seized, disarmed and dragged before his own commander Luther Largent, who is still loyal to Daemon. Gawain's storyline at King's Landing will be given to someone else on the green side, possibly Ironrod. Sir Luther is the commander of the Gold Cloaks, who will be changed into a new character called Clay on the show. The Greens denounce him as a turncloak, to which Luther replies, "Daemon gave us these cloaks and they're gold no matter how you turn them." Luther then drives his sword through one of the Greens' bellies and orders the city gates to be open to the Black's army pouring in from the Sea Snake ships. There will only be small resistance at King's Landing, as besides the Gold Cloaks being loyal to Daemon, other soldiers also yield upon seeing so many dragons flying above their heads. Only a small number of House Hightower knights and 100 men-at-arms managed to hold the river gate for 8 hours from both attacks without and within the city. The other 6 gates, however, fall swiftly, and Rhaenyra's army enters the city without much fighting. The city falls in less than a day when Alicent orders them to give up and surrender. In the book, King Aegon escapes the fall of King's Landing, when he is smuggled out by Larry Strong and disguises as one of the small folk and escapes on a fishing boat, later arriving on Dragonstone, where he convinces several Blacks, one of whom is Alfred Broom, to defect and help him take the island. During the fall of Dragonstone, he fights Princess Baela Targaryen, both of them mounted on dragons. On the show, Aegon also escapes King's Landing with the help of Larys, but before Rhaenyra attacks the city, not during the attack. And it's going to be interesting to see how and why they decide to go to Dragonstone when they plan to go to Essos. In the book, Otto Hightower and Jesper Wilde are executed for treason when Rhaenyra takes the city, but the show might change Otto's death with Helena's, as Otto is not in King's Landing. A few other Green Lords die in King's Landing as well. Sir Tywin Lannister, who is tortured for information on where he has hidden the crown's treasure in the book, is also not at King's Landing in the show, but is sailing with the Triarchy. Grand Maester Orwyle is confined in the Black Cells. At Harrenhal, Aemond and Criston finally arrive to find the castle empty. Criston Cole's vanguard will first fight and win a short battle against Sir Oswald Vode, Lord Darry and Lord Root on the shore of the God's Eye, but meet no other opposition. This is a feint meant to lure them closer to Harrenhal and away from King's Landing. On the 19th day of their march, they reach Harrenhal only to find it abandoned. That night, celebrating a great victory, Aemond says Daemon and his river scum had fled rather than face his wrath. which is when word of the fall of King's Landing reaches him and he feels like a fool. He's outraged upon learning that Daemon has flown away on Xerxes to aid Rhaenyra with the fall of King's Landing. Daemon anticipated Aemond's reckless course of action, and his spies in the city confirmed it. As soon as word reaches him that Aemond's army is on the march, he mounts Xerxes and flies southwest of the God's Eye to avoid Daemon's line of advance. He then loops back around to join Queen Rhaenyra Targaryen's dragonriders and the Velaryon fleet for an attack at King's Landing, which Aemond has left with only a small defense force and no war-capable dragons. Whereas the city watch is still loyal to Daemon, and throws all but one of the city gates to the blacks as they arrive. Thus the city falls in a single day with very little fighting. Outraged and in all his fury, Aemond kills Sir Simon Strong and his skin at Harrenhal. Alice Rivers is spared, however, and becomes Aemond's bedmate. Aemond already hated House Strong in general due to the rumors that Sir Harwin Strong is the true father of Rhaenyra's elder Velaryon sons, whom Aemond hates. He also never trusted Lord Larry Strong, the Green Spymaster, and Aemond knows that Simon Strong helped Daemon. Simon will protest his innocence, insisting that he could not possibly have held a siege against Xerxes, and had no choice but to help Daemon later, but Aemond will command that Simon be given a sword in a trial by combat against him. Aemond is well trained while Simon is an old man. The resulting duel is utterly one-sided. Aemond cuts Simon to pieces, then feeds his corpse to Vhagar. Aemond will then proceed to massacre every male of House Strong, down to the last little grandson. No man or boy is spared, not even bastards, except only one woman, Alice Rivers, whom Aemond takes as a bedmate, ignoring all other women. In Season 3 at King's Landing, Queen Rhaenyra finally gets and seizes the Iron Throne, but she cuts herself upon it, and many lords see it, starting rumors that the throne has rejected her. In Westeros, it's a common belief that if the throne cuts the king or queen, it means they're not fit to rule or they're not the rightful ruler, so the throne is rejecting them. At first, the population of the city will welcome Rhaenyra as their queen after suffering under Aegon's and Aemond's reign and after being hungry for a long time. In time, however, with more executions happening daily and more taxes being raised upon the small folk to fund the wars, the population will begin to hate Rhaenyra. Queen Alicent will try to make a new offer of peace. This time she proposes that the Seven Kingdoms would be divided between the two claimants, with Rhaenyra keeping the Crownlands, Riverlands, the Vale of Arryn, the Iron Islands and the North, and ruling from King's Landing, while Aegon II would rule a new realm from Old Town that consists of the Reach, the Stormlands and the Westerlands. Rhaenyra will reject this offer and say they've given up positions of honor that they may have had when they stole her birthright and took the lives of her sons. Season 3 premiere is the beginning of Queen Rhaenyra's reign, which will not last long and which will be full of death and betrayal. Some of the deaths will make the small folk riot so much against Rhaenyra and House Targaryen in general that they end up storming the dragon pit and killing a few dragons. In Season 3 Episode 1 we'll see the battle and fall of King's Landing, with Daemon and Rhaenyra leading the attack joined by many other dragons and dragonriders, and they will take it, while at the same time Aemond takes empty Harrenhal and Rhaenyra finally sits the Iron Throne. Let me know your thoughts about all of this in the comment section down below. For free, you can now listen to the entire audiobook Fire and Blood, on which House of the Dragon is based and which covers the entire Targaryen history, including current and future events of House of the Dragon, for free with a notable trial using our link in the description. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you in the next one.